What is up, Osu gamers? This video is going to be a bit of a different style. I'm still going to be providing tips that will be valuable for you in this video. However, this first portion here, the introduction, is going to be off the top of my head and not read off a script like I usually do. Today's video is going to be about me. And yes, I am being a bit selfish, but sometimes you have to be. Right now, I want to tell the story of how I went about improving as a 5-digit into a 4-digit in 5 months' time. It was quite a wild journey, and I'm going to tell that story here today and tell you what mistakes I made, how you can avoid making the same mistakes that I made, and the entire process I used in order to improve on a day-to-day basis. Thank you all for watching my videos, and if you're not already subscribed to the channel, which I know around 95% of you are not, hit that subscribe button. It takes a few seconds, and it shows me that I'm making something that people are enjoying, and that makes me happy. And hopefully I'm making you guys happy and making you laugh with my recent videos and my more serious videos alike. So leave a like, let me know how I did in the comments below, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. Like I said, thank you so much for watching. Let's get straight down to business. Here's my story. I got a bit curious recently and decided to check out my page on Osu Stats, which is a website that logs your stats, and you might even have your stats logged on there as well, but you can go there and check it out if you'd like. And I realized something immediately that had slipped my mind for quite some time. This video is going to be my way of sharing that realization with all of you, in order to hopefully prevent players from making the same silly mistake that I did, which hindered my improvement for years. If you are an Osu player anywhere from rank 1 million to rank 1, there will be something in this video that you can learn from. That is my promise to all of you. I will be talking about how I improved so quickly at the game, how this led to my downfall, and how you can avoid making the same mistakes that have held me back from improving for a large majority of the past 5 years. The videos that I make involving improvement are all based upon the ways that I improve nowadays, but I completely skipped over what got me here in the first place. So this is the backstory. I had been playing the game off and on for quite some time, but in 2018 when I came back after the summer, I came back in full force. I started watching Osu Twitch compilations on YouTube, which were not the best videos ever, although they did get me back into the game. One of the players in these videos stood out to me immediately. That player was Abyssal. I really wanted to play the maps that Abyssal was playing, so I began to use Abyssal's skin as my main skin. And coming back to the game, I wanted to do it a bit differently. So I made a rule for myself that I would only play Nomad for the first few months and see how much progress I would make. I came back to the game at rank 23,538 with an astounding 4,381 PP. To put that into perspective, rank 30,000 today requires over 6,000 PP in order to achieve. If I had come back today with 4,381 PP, I would be rank 102,922, which is a decay of over 80,000 ranks. That's a lot of players who have joined Osu since, which makes me excited for the future of the game. After all, Osu is a game that I have come to in order to have fun, listen to music, and compete with other players and myself over the years. So the competition is quite fierce nowadays. Before I forget to mention it, I did in fact have a goal when coming back to the game. I saw clips of the United States Cup, or USC, in these videos, and my goal in coming back to the game was to make my state's team for the upcoming USC 2019, which I did end up achieving in 2019. However, I was nowhere close to being ready for the level of competition and had still been injured during the entirety of the tournament. Massive blunder there by me, but we don't dwell in the past. But how did I go about injuring myself in the first place? Well, we'll get to that, and with that goal in my head, I got straight to work. From the day of my return, it was go time. My rank kept on going down and down and down, and there was seemingly nothing stopping me. I thought I was going to go straight to rank 1, but things didn't exactly go the way I had planned. Unfortunately, the harsh reality of what Osu can do to your hands was creeping its way into my life slowly but surely. But things were good for the time being, and I was working on playing Nomad, and I was very successful doing so. On the 28th of September, only a bit more than 2 months after my return, I was sat at right above 4-digit. At rank 10,900. And the very next day, I became a 4-digit for the first time in my Osu career. Little did I know, this is where I would be for years to come. I've been a 4-digit for longer than most of you watching this video have been playing Osu. I'm still a 4-digit right now, in fact. Although I am close to 3-digit, my days of caring super hard about farming are over. In December of 2018, everything came to a grinding halt. I had hit a wall, and I didn't know how I would push past that wall. So I began to play DT heavily heavily once again, seeing as how most top players at the time were playing DT and it was the meta, big time. This is what ruined me as a player. My fingers have never been quick to adapt to speed, and it takes me a long time to build speed, finger control, stamina, and if I overwork my hands, it takes them a long time to recover, which is frustrating when you are fully committed to improving. I had one very hard session on my hand, one that would change the course of my Osu career for years to come. I'm going to be brutally honest with you all right now. I went from improving from rank 23,000 to 4,500 in 5 months time. I was tapping on point every day, my aim was on fire, I nearly FC'd Bang Bang as a 4-digit, which would have been huge back then. And in December of 2018, all of that changed. I couldn't even play the game anymore because my middle finger was completely ruined. I was struggling to play 5 to 6 star maps, and it was like something was holding me back from moving my middle finger altogether. My biggest fear had become my reality. I had injured my tapping hand, as well as my aim hand. This was a result of many different factors. Not knowing how to stretch, not understanding the importance of taking breaks, and overplaying an insane amount, which led to me not even being able to play the game at all. I took week-long breaks, came back, and still nothing had changed. I was able to gain ranks still, however, because there were still maps that were super easy to FC, even with my injuries, so thank you Sotarks for that one, which was incredibly stupid of me to do. I should have completely stopped playing, but I was committed to the grind and had that dream still in my head, rank 1, which was achieved by a player with the exact same skill set that I have, Nomad, Hard Rock, and Space Streams only a month before this. I had to keep going. That was my downfall. My drive to become the best and not knowing how to go about getting there in a healthy way led to me failing. That is why I stress taking care of yourself and being hyper aware of what you are doing in order to avoid going through the mental torture that I went through for years, regretting the mistakes that I had made. And don't get it wrong, I have a life outside of Osu, so it wasn't like Osu is the only thing that I do and now it's ruined. But Osu was my hobby and I loved playing the game, and when I had time to myself, most of it I wanted to spend playing Osu, at least back then. Nowadays, I have realized it's more important to spend time making valuable progress rather than trying to brute force your way into improving. Years have gone by since this time, 5 years to be exact in 2 months' time. It has been a long journey to where I am now, nearing 3-digit and finally going back to learning index middle to push speed, using all of the same concepts that I share with all of you in my improvement videos to ensure that I don't injure myself this time around. As I am writing this, I have played Osu for the last 5 days in a row learning index middle, and I am taking as long of a break as I need to recover and ensure that I do not injure myself, as I feel I need the time away from the game to fully recover. When coming back from taking breaks for recovery, it's important to know that the first day back is usually going to be what I would consider testing the waters. If I don't feel fully recovered on day 3, I won't go through with playing a session on that day and will instead take another rest day, making sure that I stretch and run my hands under warm water in order to promote recovery. Drinking a lot of water and making sure that I'm staying hydrated is also something I do to make sure that I am doing every single possible thing to promote healthy recovery, whether I am playing Osu or not. I personally feel like I am at a point in Osu where I have achieved everything I have ever wanted to in the game. Anything from here on out is just for fun. And now I'm going to tell you guys exactly how I went about improving now that you know the whole story. So here that is. So here are the 5 tips that I have made that follow what I did when I was a 5-digit in order to get 4-digit in under 6 months time. Number 1, put all of the maps you want to FC into a collection. This is what mine looked like. When I was new, I would sort by difficulty and go down the list each session. This was a good way for me to gauge how much better I had gotten at the game each session, and I think that if you try this out yourself, you will see progress quite quickly. If you're not quite at the level where you can pass a 6-star, maybe you can just pass a 5-star, then, you know, start with the 5 stars, right? Start with 5 stars. No big deal. Go down here, 5 stars, boom, look at how many maps I have, 5-star. Holy shit, that's actually a lot. Number 2, in terms of improving as fast as possible, what I have found to be most effective is tip number 1, but there is a bit more that goes into it. I tend to stay away from pressing the F2 button ever, because I want my sessions to be more disciplined. The more disciplined you are when playing a game like Osu, the easier it will be to improve and see results quickly. And playing a group of map that I know I want to improve on seems to work pretty well for me. Each day it's easy to track my progress and compare my scores to my previous days, and I can see improvement rather than guessing when playing new maps every single session. So tip 2 is pretty much just stay away from hitting F2 and finding random maps on sessions you want to focus on improving. Tip 3, take time when your sessions are over to go through your maps around the star rating you want to play more consistently, and add as many maps to your collection as you want to. I always go through the Osu Direct newly ranked maps or qualified section, as well as the Osu website, and honestly I like the website much more because it's easier to see the star rating without having to hover over the small circle in the Osu Direct menu. Without having to hover over the small circle in the Osu Direct menu, you can just see the color of the beat map, which will tell you the difficulty based on these values here. I tend to middle mouse click on the maps that I am interested in, and then take a look through all of the tabs that I have opened and choose a little bit more wisely based on how much PP, the difficulty, and all that stuff on which ones I want to download. Usually I'll open up anything purple or above, but that's just because I'm a Nomad player and maps in the pink range are probably too easy. I haven't downloaded many maps below 6 stars since I was around rank 25,000. As a matter of fact, I pretty much completely eliminated downloading anything below 6 stars simply to improve my skill quicker. Unless I know it's a popular farm map with double time or a genre of music that I enjoy, such as hip-hop, rap, or drum and bass, which is typically played with double time. And these maps also typically don't have higher star rating maps, so unfortunately the lower star rating maps, that's all you got. It's best to leave the easier maps and difficulties in the past once you have improved enough to be able to play harder maps. Trust me, even if you don't achieve a new top play for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or even months, as long as you are focusing on improving and understanding why you aren't able to do something and trying to fix that issue, you will improve. This is the way improving works in pretty much every single game out there. You need to see what you are doing wrong and work on fixing that and doing even better the next time you play that section. You will succeed. All you need to do is remember, understand what you are doing wrong. Number 4, I know I just talked about how you should sort by difficulty and play through your collections that way, but you don't always have to do that. To change things up a bit, I sometimes would sort by BPM and play through maps that way. Going from 170 to 220 is pretty much the range that I would do that didn't injure me. But for you, it could be any range. This would help me warm up my fingers slowly while building finger control and also making sure that I don't overwork my fingers right at the beginning of a session. It takes my fingers, my tapping hand especially, a bit longer to get warmed up than I would like. And I feel like this, if it's not a day where I have a ton of energy and can just shred for no reason whatsoever, this is how I warm up. And number 5 pretty much ties everything together. There is a difference between being able to do something and completely understanding what you are doing and being able to replicate what you are doing with ease. And let me try to explain that a little bit deeper because not everybody might understand that right off the bat. So basically what I'm saying here is, let's say for example, let's use a player for example. Let's say Emrek, right? So yes, Emrek can play things like Save Me DT no problem, right? But there's a difference between being able to play Save Me DT. Why do I keep voice cracking when I say save me? But there's a difference between being able to do Save Me DT and being able to do Save Me DT multiple times in a single session. And what that is an unbelievable amount of discipline, understanding, and every single aspect that goes into playing that map you need to have mastered in order to play that map multiple times in a row. From speed to conserving stamina, having stamina, understanding how to read it. It's just, there are so many different factors that go into being able to do something rather than having something mastered. And that, my friends, is what separates players like Emrek from speed one tricks like, for example, I'm not going to use anybody's name actually, for example, but let's take a look at Save Me actually right now. Let's see. I want to see who has passes on Save Me. So we've got Window Life, we've got Rhythmic RS, Lights Out, Freeze, and a bunch of other people here who've passed Save Me, right? But there's a difference between these players who have an A rank and these players who have C ranks, right? So times out of 10, these players with the C ranks are pretty much just spamming. They can read the map relatively decently, right? But they're not on the same level as a player like Emrek or Shimon or Lights Out or Window Life, or players who have passed it with hidden DT, like Emrek, Akolibed, Chikoni, Lifeline, Nyan Potato, Turna. I mean, these players have an incredible understanding of the game. They can read AR 9.5, 285 BPM, and it's not even close, right? It's not even close. And how do you get there? Well, I'll explain a little bit as to how I believe you'd get there. Okay, and first of all, it's having good... being good at reading is the most valuable skill set that you can have. If you are good at reading and you are terrible at everything else, there are so many different guides on YouTube that will explain to you exactly how to improve all of your other skills. But reading is a bit different, because there is genuinely peripheral gap when it comes to being good at reading. I remember struggling to read AR9 when I first started playing this game on my shitty laptop. And that wasn't because AR9 was too fast. And let me say exactly why I think this way. I started playing on an old laptop, Windows 7 laptop, right? Old ass laptop. My grandma bought it for me. And AR9 was literally impossible for me to read on that laptop. I only started being able to read AR10 and shit when I got a 144 Hz monitor. And that isn't because of it being AR9. That's because the monitor the laptop was just so bad, right? Like, it was so bad. And the 144 Hz monitor is the first experience that I had playing on a desktop. And also, I had a buddy back in the day who I had play Osu for the first time. And he had a 144 Hz monitor, just to preface this. Second day this guy's playing. He FC's a map with Hard Rock that is AR10. Now, it wasn't a difficult map by any means. Probably around like 3.5 stars or something like that. But he full comboed this map, and I was in literal awe. I was like, how could it be possible that he is able to read AR10 already? And let me tell you exactly how that is. First things first, me and him were both very good at Counter-Strike back in high school. We were both around LEM, I think. Yeah, so our reaction times were already pretty damn refined by the time he played Osu. And unfortunately for him, he had hand issues that were a thing prior to Osu, so he wasn't able to play the game. But it is actually incredible to me that a player who has just started playing the game in only 3 days' time can FC a map that is AR10. That took me an insane amount of time to be able to read. Like, it's not even funny how long that took me to read. Peripherals play a huge part in reading. And honestly, I'd say so 60 Hertz isn't the main issue, right? It's the response time of the monitor. Because the lower the response time of the monitor, the less time your brain's going to need to react to something. But having a reaction time of around 0.2, it's going to help you. So reading in Osu is not just your ability to read, it's also your ability to recognize patterns, register them in your brain, and play them. And that can be helped by doing what I say in my previous videos, which is looking at each individual circle with your eyes. Because like I said before, if you cannot see something, how can you possibly expect to be able to do anything about it? If you're not looking, if Emrek, oh my god, I really can't even look at the replay, that's kind of fucked. Isn't the number one on each individual elected mods leaderboard supposed to have a replay, or am I trolling? Anyway, if Emrek wasn't looking at each individual circle, I guarantee you that guy would not be able to play this map. Guarantee you. And that sometimes does not come naturally for people. People don't typically look at every single circle because they get lazy, because it's just not natural for our eyes to have to focus for so long on something so unnatural. And it ends up being the case that you just get lazy, right? And there's a certain point where you have to be consciously aware of it, and then you'll start doing it, and you have to be disciplined about it. And if you really want to enjoy Osu and do the best that you can, I mean, these are the things you should be worrying about, because they make you play better. Anyway, I've rambled for enough time. These are my tips for beginners. Anyway, yeah, about it. Peace.